pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can we get roll call?
We sure can. Bankin,
Here.
Haskell,
Here.
Bristol, Pitchford, Asplund,
Here.
Majeski.
Here.
Einhardt.
Here.
Quorum.
Okay, everybody had a chance to look over the amended agenda.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. We approve as presented.
A second? Second in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes. Everybody had a chance to look at the commissioner minutes from July 20th and the special meeting minutes of July 8th.
They look good.
Okay,
Make a
gonna make the motion.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Got a motion, we got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. General public comment. Okay. Everybody looked at the communications list. Any questions, comments? Okay. Administrators report.
Okay. It's gonna take a while.
5 minutes.
I've been working with DHS and the opioid settlement resource center on the opioid settlement money. Counties were supposed to start getting money in July. However, that's been pushed back to October. Clare County is slated to receive $836,806 over 18 years. So it's approximately $46,000 per year. 70% of settlement funds must be used for opioid remediation. I'd like to have a workshop at the end of this month to go over the 23 budget and answer any questions you may have. Then we can have a public hearing in October, adopt the budget at the September meeting.
Wait a minute.
Have a public hearing in October and then adopt the budget.
Oh, did I say
September.
October? I meant September.
All right,
I'm sorry.
not a problem.
I would like to suggest a change to our agenda, just a slight change so that department heads don't feel that they have to be at the meeting. I know that everybody's super busy and on our agenda, it has all the department heads to give a report. If they choose to do it quarterly, you know, I'd like to change that if they would like that. So they don't have to be, because everybody's so busy. I don't know if you guys saw in the millages, there were over 100 millages on the ballot in the state of Michigan. 7 out of 100 did not pass, and those were for communications. One was for general operations. One was for a new jail. Actually, another one was for general operations, but the rest of them passed. Most of them were senior services, 911, transit, and public safety. So just kind of giving you an update on that. Working on the budget. And that's been a lot. We received our health insurance numbers on Monday. So I did ask 44 North to be here today to give a presentation on the health insurance, and it was bid out, and Blue Cross came in at almost $1 million, more than what we're paying now. 3 other companies declined to bid on it, and those were Priority Health, Radian, and Jefferson. They looked at our utilization and said that there's no possible way they could even give us a competitive bid. So I'm going to pass this out to you to look at. It is confidential, so I need it back so I can shred it. These were the plan performance factors on how they came up with the numbers for our health insurance. So we did have ASR bid on it. So there were two plans that were kind of even in the ballpark, and one was the ASR 44 North, which 44 North, we have an HRA with 44 North, so that's like, we have a medical plan and then we have a self-funded plan, which is the HRA. And then we have the self-insured prescription plan. So that came in quite high, and you can't, hard cap what your HRA is. So, so far this year, as of last month, we'd spent $375,000 on our HRA. So they have a plan, ASR has a plan where we sort of eliminate the HRA, but they take on the liability of the HRA. So we have the exact same insurance with a 2% cost share. But the HRA is eliminated, and the increase is $526,684. However, if we take out the HRA, what we paid in the HRA, we're gonna see about $300,000 more for health insurance for this next year. And that is if you choose to opt out of Public Act 152 today, which is, you can have a hard cap. You have three choices. You can have the hard cap on your insurance, which you only would pay, maybe it depends on if there's a one person, two person, or family. You would pay, let's just say, no more than $18,000 per person, depending upon what level they have of insurance. I did explain it in my notes. We read that, but or you can opt out of the hard cap or the 80-20 and have what you have and just do a cost share. So currently we do a 2% cost share. I did request 44 North to come in with what a 5% cost share looks like and a 10% cost share looks like, just so that you can see it when they come in today. And I also requested that they come in to show you what other counties are doing for health insurance. So keep in mind that our health insurance is a very good benefit for our employees. We don't pay the higher wages, but we do have a great benefit that is I would like it to be a better tool for employees for longevity or bringing somebody in. Our health insurance is good for the employees. So just think about those things. And then tomorrow I have a company that's coming in to shred all of our old electronics, and we'll be doing an inventory and audit on all of them and making sure that they're properly disposed. We literally have hundreds of hard drives, things that need to be destroyed. So we're partnering with the city of Clare. They're coming up, and the sheriff's department has a lot of stuff. So we're going to be having that tomorrow. And then I would like to just keep in your minds discussion about the airport. We need to have some direction. I would like to recommend another public hearing for public input so we can move forward, perhaps in October. In the meantime, the airport's going to operate just as it has been, and I've budgeted for the same funding for 2023 as what was in 2022. So, does anybody have any questions for me?
Not yet, for me.
Can you pass back the paper, please? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Carl, you're up.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Hi.
So what I'm wanting to do today, and I'm gonna try and make this a habit at least once a year to bring you updates, what we've been doing, the impact to the county. I want to talk about some recent legislation that's going to definitely impact our local veterans, as well as some of the outreach things we've got going on and some of the funding through the Michigan Trust Fund that we've been able to get for some of our local veterans. So first off, I want to introduce Connie Kazmarzik, who is our new part-time veteran service officer. Some of you may remember Debbie Mason, who worked part-time in my office for several years. She retired, but she never wanted to become a service officer like what I do and handle claims and whatnot. So we brought Connie on. Connie is a Harrison High School graduate, spent 10 years in the Air Force, finished her MBA through Columbia Southern University, and moved back to Harrison for some apparent reason.
I'd like to make a note real quick. Clare County was awarded the bronze status from the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency, and they designated Clare County as a veterans-friendly employer. Thank you, Carl, for that.
Wonderful.
So that being said, what I handed out, besides some goodies for you to take home, and I'll talk about that in a minute. The PACT Act has been in the news, signed last Wednesday by the president. Stands for the Promise to Address Comprehensive Toxics. I know they come up with cute acronyms. The reason I handed that out is that's going to have a major impact on veterans. It greatly expands healthcare, as well as financial benefits for those who might have been impacted, not only from residuals from herbicides in Vietnam, but also from 1990 forward for veterans who in the Middle East were exposed to toxic fumes, et cetera. The reason I bring that up is we have, since last Wednesday, have already initiated a half dozen new claims under this legislation. But what I've also found, and the reason I'm asking you to keep this in mind, is there's also a lot of misinformation out there about what is covered and whatnot. So part of the reason I handed out glasses with our business cards, if you get those questions, send them to me, send them to Connie so we can answer those appropriately. One of the things that we fight against are the personal injury lawyers. No offense to attorneys, but veterans do not need to hire an attorney to go through the process. That's what we're here for. Okay, so try and steer them away from paying money they don't need to pay. Second page I handed out, it deals with the financial impact that veterans have on Clare County. Latest figures from fiscal year 21. The VA approximately says, I think it's 2,600 veterans roughly in Clare County, and the amount of money that's sent back to the county in federal dollars through not only disability compensation, but pension, but also importantly, what gets overlooked is survivors' pensions. So we have quite a few surviving spouses whose veteran spouses served in a wartime era that the VA is helping pay for the nursing home costs, for example. That is a benefit that's out there. I think the maximum right now is about $1,300 a month. It's not a lot if they need a lot of care, but it does help. But it's important to get the word out that spouses may be eligible for that as well. Because a lot of times that gets overlooked when talking about veterans this and veterans that, but a lot of these things also apply for the families. So we did go up another notch, about $200,000 between fiscal year 20 and 21, but you can see the trend, and this is all tied to our outreach, which I'll come back to in a minute. So the more people we can convince, and believe it or not, this is where my recruiting piece comes in. The more people I can recruit to get in and file claims that they may be eligible for benefits, the more of that money comes back to the county. Now, we're not naive. It's federal dollars. I mean, it's still all our tax dollars, okay? But the more of that money that can be brought back, then those folks are going to spend that money here. And that's kind of what drives what I do. This honestly is the only benchmark I have, is how our office is doing. So the idea is to get that number up every year. Count on getting the word out to everyone is, hey, if you know someone that might be eligible for something, not entitled, but eligible, have them contact us and we'll see if we can get something put together for them. But again, that usually goes for spouses as well. The third page I handed you is on our vans. We have our 2 vans that we operate, most of them go. We have a team of volunteer drivers, and they are tasked with driving our veterans to their medical appointments, whether it's Saginaw, Ann Arbor, Battle Creek, et cetera. Obviously, the numbers took a dip in fiscal year 20 or calendar year 20. No surprise, hospitals basically shut down for COVID. But we're seeing an uptick again of that coming back in with more veterans needing rides. The reason that's important is we are getting desperately short of drivers. They're all volunteer. And we've lost, I say lost, we've had a few drop off for various reasons just within the past few months. So we put it out through Facebook. And by the way, thank you, Connie, for creating a Facebook page because I didn't know how to do that. So we now have a Facebook page, but to share, to try and get folks to volunteer to drive. It is a little bit of a process. They have to pass the DOT physical, background check, et cetera, through Saginaw. But it is also very rewarding. So if anyone is available and interested in doing that, even if they can only drive once or twice a month, that's totally fine. We can definitely put them to good use. A couple other things you may, in the southern end of the county, you may probably know there is a VA clinic in Clare. They have greatly expanded that clinic over the past year. It's basically doubled in size. But one of the things they added was a VSO office, Veteran Service Officer office. So my goal, and I'm working with the facilities folks now, is to be in that office at least one day a week. By doing that, I'll be able to meet the veterans at the clinic. They come in for medical care, they can stop in, talk about benefits, et cetera. So part of the reason for having Connie is she can keep the office open here on the day that I'm there, so that we keep that continuity so people don't come in and see the doors locked. When I'm running by myself, I can't do that because I want to make sure veterans have access to the information. Even if it's just somebody stopping in because they want to order a brick for the Freedom Park, or if they need to copy the discharge form, I want the office to be open as much as possible. So that's part of the outreach, but also part of the outreach. And I'm sure as you've driven up 127 and on US 10, you've seen our billboards, especially one on 10 is really nice. You see Ed's picture, right? Ed Hanak's picture right there, as big as anything. That's all funded through the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency County Veteran Service Fund grant. We've been approved for the 2023 grant. It's going to be a shade over $60,000. So we'll continue that outreach. That also allows us to purchase the things like what I've handed out to you guys, specifically because this is what we hand out to the public, not only to keep the name out there, but also the phone number. So look at it, go, what was that guy's number? Oh yeah, here it is. So they contact us. That's the reason. So when we go to job fairs, when we go to veterans expos, we're there to help, again, promote the office and get people to come in, see if they are eligible for benefits and help them get those benefits. One of the things I can do, I've done a couple of the past month or two, is I'm available if folks are part of any community groups that would like for us to come out and present. Most recently, I did a presentation for the Clare Kiwanis. Back before, I think in January, February, I went out to the Lake of the Pines and talked to the group out there. So if you have a group, Kiwanis, Rotary, whatever, would like for me to come out and present what we do and our mission and so on, I'm more than happy to do that. Just let me know. A couple last things. I'm a member of our state association executive committee. One of the things that's driving that is our continuing education. So I'm going to try and get that as moving as best we can. Let's see. So we most recently partnered with Michigan Veterans Trust Fund. 2 veterans within the past 2 months have gotten wells replaced, courtesy of the trust fund. So the way the trust fund works, as long as the veteran is eligible, and that's the key because some of them don't qualify. But the Veterans Trust Fund was set up after World War II with a $50 million set aside in 1946. That $50 million is not allowed to be touched, can't be moved in the general fund, nothing. But the interest off of it, which is substantial, is what's used to help out in emergency situations like this. So each one of those wells were $8,000 to $10,000, and the trust fund covered that, so those veterans got water. That's another program we coordinate with. We have a committee to review those applications. We have the Soldiers Relief Fund, which is locally funded, which is a much smaller budget. But the trust fund, if it's a much larger amount, we can send it to the state and hopefully have them pay for it. So if you have someone, again, in that situation, send them to me and see if they are eligible to get a grant to pay for something like that. Because as we know, wells are not cheap. Just getting folks to come out and get estimates on the wells is a trick. Finally, just the Freedom Park, quick updates on that. Since last time we talked, they've installed the last 2 statues. So last Veterans Day, they installed the Desert Storm statue, and then Memorial Day, the current era statue, which in this case was a female helicopter pilot. We had a very nice ceremony with a female helicopter pilot from Michigan National Guard. I'll talk about it. We also have a sound system now. which has been sorely needed. We're just waiting on final hookup for that. So for each ceremony going forward, we'll be able to do that so people can hear. Because that was the biggest complaint we always had, is because the logging truck's going by in 61 and that's all you heard. Okay, that's pretty much all I have. Questions for me?
I have a comment,
Fire away.
and correct me if I'm wrong. The requirement for your grant that you're getting is that your funding, your expenditures have to be equal to or more than what your expenditures were in 2017, correct?
100% correct.
Okay, so in 2017, we had a different situation because we had a director that took the health insurance, and so the expenditures were higher. Correct. So we do have to, in order to get that grant, which is extremely important, and you can see on these numbers here, what a benefit it is to Clare County to receive that grant for advertising and getting people in to get the services. I mean, obviously, from 2018, we've gone up over $3 million in benefits to veterans in Clare County. So in order to get that grant, we have to do some tweaking and, have his expenditures a little bit higher. So I'm just, and we'll talk about that at our workshop, but I just want that in place, that little bug placed in your head too. So that's important. That's important to the veterans in our county. Okay.
Other questions? See you next year.
Thank you, Carl.
Thanks.
Eric?
Hi, good morning. Happy Wednesday, and when I drive up, I think happy road construction month too. So I just want to start off by saying thank you very much to Lori and the Board of Commissioners for allowing us to be here today. Congratulations on the new role. I've had the opportunity to meet with Lori a couple different times now, and I've really sincerely appreciated your responsiveness and how we've been able to work through things with that. So with that, with me today, I have a couple of new faces and experienced faces that I wanted to introduce. And so Miranda Wormskirchen, do you want to just do a quick introduction?
Hi, I am the 4-H program coordinator. I started back in April. And it's been a lot of work and it's been a lot of fun as well since I've started.
And then Lori.
Hi, I'm Lori Traylor, and I am providing administrative support for Clare County and also for the District 6, which is 7 counties. And I've been with Extension for over 20 years. I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, good. Happy to have you.
So Lori is like my right-hand person that helps keep everything baseline for Eric. And so with that, I just wanted to take the opportunity to share a little bit about the things that MSU Extension has been providing in Harrison County. I don't want to paint a picture of perfection, but in the same breath, I also am very proud of the efforts that we've created in our organization through the university and locally here in Harrison County too. And so, Clare, Harrison, Clare County. And so, as we go through and think about some of the different impacts we're doing, I thought, how do we take 200 different programs and how do we, capture in a snapshot, brief way of all the different programs that MSU Extension offers. But I think as we go through, and please feel free to ask any questions as you look through some of these, but I wanted to use some of the localized images of the different things that we're doing. I think some of the different things, we all know that COVID's impacted a lot of different people, and I don't think that that's unlike any other county or organization. But in the same breath, I'm really excited about the different opportunities that it's presented for MSU Extension itself. I think now we're connecting with different audiences, a large group of audiences through multi-platform systems. Now we're grassrooted on those face-to-face and individual local contacts, but we also now are connecting with people through the virtual platform. And so as we look at some of the 4-H numbers that we've had, and we've experienced some turnover too. I mean, I think that's the other piece of it. But we're very excited to have Miranda back. I'm very excited that we have a full staff here. And I think that's going to continue to show our impact as we continue on to the next year. But over the course of this last last year in Clare, we had 76 volunteers that supported 246 different youth in various different programs. And this picture here is a teddy bear program that we created for people that they offer some support. You know, not everybody gets a gift or gets some of those things. So it's just an opportunity for us to engage with different people that were in need. And then also we have the financial resources that are available. We had Tegan that would introduce herself here that talked about some of the different programs that she works with, individuals that are in need, maybe at risk of foreclosure, and working with those. And that was a really cool goosebump story, you know, quote that was down there about the impact that she had with a local person that, you know, how that truly impacted their lives and improve the quality of their lives, help them work through very complex and difficult systems. Through our health and nutrition program, we have our SNAP Ed programs. In Clare, we offered 51 different services or 51 resident services through this. And we also try to leave a big footprint in terms of engaging with people, teaching them about nutrition, working with them about different resources that are available. We have our health extension food program. So this is a number of different things. We've really tried to engage now that the farmers markets are reopened, connecting with those audiences, letting them know about how do you prepare food? What are some good nutritional things? How do you preserve foods? And what are some of those healthy eating habits that you can engage with? We have a large impact in the agriculture and agribusiness field. And so we have our field educators that are out working with farmers that are in your backyard, teaching them about soil, teaching them about you know, what are some of the different maybe things that they can do? Obviously not encouraging them to do stuff, but educating them so they can make the best choice for their farm, what maybe their soil nutrient needs are and some of those different pieces. We also have our beef and dairy educators that are out engaging with the community, with the farmers. And then, you know, as I shared last time, the farm stress supports. And that was another goosebump moment where this was a farmer that was in a really bad spot and shared that, you know, they actually engaged in the counseling program. They've become an advocate really for the program, reaching out to other farmers, allowed us to videotape and record their story, and shared that, you know, I didn't believe in the counseling program when you shared it with me, but not only did it give me my life back, it might have saved it in the same breath. So that was pretty awesome. And that program continues to thrive. We've added resources, continued to expand that. And as I shared before, we're working with people in your community that you'll never know about because of you know, confidentiality in those pieces. So if you're not hearing about them, I think it's one of those true success stories. And so on the back is just a snapshot of some of our outputs. Through them, I've talked about some of them, and I think these numbers are going to continue to rise. Like I said, I think we had in 2020 and 2021, we were confronted with some unforeseen things, but I think in the same breath, we've illustrated or displayed resiliency within that too. And not just we, I say we as the community. The communities continue to stay engaged, the communities continue to stay involved, and it's our role and our responsibility to continue to outreach and engage and connect and make sure people are aware of those services that we have. So I guess with that, do we have any questions?
I'm remembering from last month's meeting, and I don't know who said this, we were talking about the sheriff's department. They have a great garden this year, and somebody in here volunteered to teach inmates canning if they wanted to. Under sheriff, is that something that that could be done at the jail? Pardon?
We can look at our options to try to make the program work.
Okay, I don't know if you have like, you know, any inmates going like, I need to learn how to can, you know, but I just thought.
Well, yeah, we have a.
So they could have somebody come in.
We can share and engage.
Yeah,
And
all right.
talk about what are some of those things, right?
Yeah, good. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, no, thank you.
What?
I'm all set. Thanks, Eric.
Well, thank you very much. I
Thank you.
appreciate the support.
Yep.
Have a great day.
Yep. Okay. 44 North's up.
They're not here yet.
No.
They're not going to be here till 10, so the public hearing doesn't start till 10, so let's move on.
All right. Rick, you take animal shelter.
All right. Animal shelter motion to approve the construction of pole barn for the animal shelter by Tom's Pole Building in the amount of $60,910.
I'll second that.
That number has changed. We got a new bid yesterday. So I do have that in your packet. That number out, just give me a second.
Just to let you know, we only had 2 bids total.
Yes, the bid is $70,900. So that number changed. They're in the process of demolishing the old dilapidated building behind the shelter.
It is
Putting up a new, it's gone, putting up a pole barn. The money spent on this is their own building fund money and a sizable donation.
So we did inherit an estate of about $24,000 that will also go into that.
Oh, great.
Gives a jump start.
Very nice.
Any questions on that? This is going to be used to house livestock in the back and to store all of our stuff that we have to store. We'll have to be putting our fences back up because they had to take those down, but right now we're boarding a bull, a 1,200-pound bull that no one ever claimed at a farm right now. Normally we would have that at the shelter, and we have a horse also that we're storing somewhere. So.
Oh, no llamas?
Not today. Not today.
Okay.
Not today.
Okay,
I'm
got
happy for
a
you.
motion, we got a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Bankin,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Majewski,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Sandy, can you take 2?
To accept the grant of $10,000 from.
27-0.
Okay, 27OH Inc. for spay and neuter.
Second it.
Motion, we got a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Bristol,
Yes.
Majewski,
Yes.
Kleinhardt,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Bankin,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Dale, you take Health and Human Services, eh?
Sure. Motion to reappoint Denise Neff to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Oh, did you have?
I just want to say, very much appreciate what you're doing with the animal
Thank you.
shelter. You've
Thank you.
done a
I would like to bring up something too that is not on your agenda, but I feel like it's a public interest thing that we need to address or at least be aware of. I was notified by the state last week that there is a new virus in Michigan that's affecting dogs.
Oh.
We thought we were fine. We had not had any deaths. As to date, from last Thursday till now, we've had over 30 dogs die of a virus, a disease, whatever, not at the shelter in the county. It mimics parvo, so it's vomiting, bloody diarrhea, and they've all died within 3 days.
Oh, no.
Okay, it's vaccinated dogs and unvaccinated dogs.
Do they know how?
Parvo, they don't know anything. The state is in a panic right now. Started in Otsego is the first place they found it, but we had 8 dogs literally across the street from us on the same road all died within 3 days. We took a carcass yesterday. We tested it for parvo in the field. It was negative, but it had all the symptoms, and we drove it to MSU yesterday. So we should get results, but just a warning to the public, keep your dogs home. Don't take them to dog parks. Don't walk them. Don't go camping with them.
There's no vaccination as of.
There's, at this point, they have no vaccine and no cure. So be
How
alert.
many did you say so far in our county?
At least 30, but yesterday we got Friday, what is today? This has been a really bad week.
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. So last night, about 9 o'clock, I got a call that 21 puppies and dogs in a breeder down in the southern part of our county lost 21 dogs to this.
Oh, wow.
That's unconfirmed.
Yeah. Can you tell the symptoms again? So I can.
Vomiting, diarrhea, bloody diarrhea.
Okay, thanks.
So it's just something I wanted to get out there. So
Yeah, that's important.
thank you.
Thank you, Rudy. Okay, Dale.
All right. To reappoint Denise Neff to the Michigan Department of Health and Services Board for 3-year term expiring on September 30th, 2025.
A motion, we got a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Now, the next motion, you can see where I got interrupted because I didn't actually finish the motion. But at the end of it, it should say senior service building. And I apologize for that.
Was it me that interrupted you?
Probably.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Samantha, will you take that one?
Motion to accept the bid of $16,068 from Bud's Property Maintenance for building a storage shed, replacing a section of sidewalk and adding an office in the senior service building.
A motion,
I'll second it.
a second, any discussion?
Question,
Mhm.
how's it being paid for?
Senior service money. It's not, nothing's coming out of the general fund. Senior services got quite a bit of ARPA dollars through Region 7. So, but there's a variety of maintenance and repairs that need to be done at the senior center. So in storage currently, there is a storage unit that's being rented for equipment. So it's, inevitably it's going to be a cost savings, but it does need to be done. And I do recommend approval. Okay.
Motion second, roll call, please.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Majewski,
Yes.
Bankin,
Yes.
Kleinhardt,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, Jack, will you take agreement for extension services?
Motion to approve the agreement for extension services with MSU Extension in the amount of $145,443 to be paid out of the MSU Extension millage.
Got a motion, we got a second?
Second that.
Got a motion second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Kleinhardt,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Bankin,
Yes.
Majewski,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
motion carried.
Ronald, will you take statutory finance committee?
Motion to approve statutory finance committee meeting minutes of July 25th, 2022 in the amount of $63,769.75. And the meeting minutes of August 8th, 2022 in the amount of $87,712.19.
I'll second that. I was there.
Motion, we had
I
a
was.
second. Roll call, please, Lori.
Asplund,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Majewski,
Yes.
Kleinhardt,
Yes.
Bankin,
Yes.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
motion carried.
Rick, will you do monthly expenditures?
Monthly motion to approve the expenditures for the month of July 2022 in the amount of $2,662,906.93 with the general fund expenditures totaling $1,201,36.68.
A second.
Motion, we got a second. Roll call, please.
Bankin,
Yes.
Majewski,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Kleinhardt,
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
motion carried.
Sandy, will you take budget adjustments?
To approve budget adjustments, 22-143, 22-145, 22-147, 22-150, 22-158, 22-160, 22-161, 22-162, 22-164 in the amount of $15,000, $400,000, $25,654.69, $8,000, $154,410.68, $171,905, $30,650, $85,925.26, and $186,000 to be distributed.
Got a motion? Got a second?
Second.
Okay, motion, second. Questions? Roll call, Lori.
Bristol,
Yes.
Bankin,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Majewski,
Yes.
Kleinhardt,
Yes.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes. Okay. Dale?
Sure. IT upgrades, motion to approve the quote of $98,658.26 from the IT right for needed security upgrades.
I'll second that.
Okay. Is this all part of the original? Is this all separate?
It's separate. So let me read what I have prepared for you. As a good strategy, IT gear should be replaced on a 5-year cycle or buy of 5, use for 6, replacing the equipment in the 6th year. The second strategy is a little more risky, but stretches the budget to get more life out of the devices. Whichever policy you choose, the 5 or 6 year term is for the county to decide. IT Right recommends to replace at the end of the 5th year to avoid outages and no warranty coverage issues. The current Sophos firewall stack is 12+ years old. It's out of warranty and support and has been having recurring issues causing outages for the past 3 weeks. These need to be replaced as soon as possible. In addition to the firewall stack, the wireless access points are 7+ years old and are due for replacement. The controller that manages the configurations for the wireless access points is part of the current firewall. The wireless access points need to be replaced prior to replacing the firewall to ensure a smooth transition. A lot of research went into this. Lastly, the network switches are 10 to 15 years old, and those should be replaced every 5 years. They do not have any battery backup on them to handle electrical surge suppression. The firmware that is running on them is from 2010. This presents a security issue because things are not being kept up with current threats. Hardware is not being up to date. It's the cause of network outages from last fall, like when we were out, for 4 days. So spanning tree protocol is currently not in place on the existing switches. It is used to prevent network loops. Like when we were out last year and the phone was unplugged and plugged into a different, which if we would have been up to date on our switches, we wouldn't have had a constant loop and we would have been current and that wouldn't have happened. So this needs to be part of our ARPA plan and we need to invest in these upgrades.
And we have the ARPA money, no problem there.
Yep.
Okay.
What did we pay for originally that we approved for IT that was a boatload of money to bring us up to specs?
Well, that's, and that's for them to stay on with us and they've already switched all of our servers over, which we have our brand new servers.
So that was
all
for
of
the
our
servers that cost us
securities.
that much before?
Yeah, we recently purchased servers, yeah.
Was it? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And all the work that they're doing behind the scenes, and our security licenses and the plan to keep us in compliance with the state of Michigan, putting all those securities issues in place. So they are reporting to us once a month. They're actually physically coming to my office once a month. I talk to them more often than that, and Josh is in touch with them constantly. So,
with this upgrade, we'll have to upgrade again in 5 years. Is that what they're recommending?
yes.
That's a good question.
Now, it would not be the total of $100,000 in 5 years, but the switches should be upgraded in 5 years.
Okay, so it'll be less than that. It'll be less than this number.
Well, I'm
Okay, hopefully.
hopefully,
I know that 5 years could be
Yeah.
that number.
things cost more money.
Yes.
Everything's in such a critical state and has been for
It's
many
very
years.
critical.
No
Right, yeah.
Our,
attention to it.
Money.
So if we do upgrade it, what are we gonna do in our budget so we have the money when it comes to that point? Are we gonna take next 5 years, take a little bit each year so we have it? Or
we're gonna have to, as soon as this budget year is done, my plan is to project out
Yeah.
or do 3-year plan, 5-year plan. We have to.
Yes.
Because we have to plan for this. We have to plan for maintaining our facilities, and that hasn't been done. Our security system and our IT, was non-existent,
You're right.
and it was critical. Even our website does not have a security certificate. So we're working on that too. Our website does not have a security certificate. So we were just hanging out there.
Amazing, more didn't happen to us than the hacking that we had.
Yeah, you're right.
And we've been answering to those. We had an audit, we had the state had to come in and do an audit on our IT system because of the breach that happened in December. So we have had to do a lot of reports on, this is what we're doing now, this is what our plan is moving forward. We have to ensure the security of our system. So that's where we're at.
Okay,
I feel it's necessary.
Oh, it is. You're right.
yeah, I'll probably vote yes, but I hate to.
I know.
We spent a lot of.
Actually vote
spent a lot of Money.
Yeah.
Didn't actually vote yet.
I know.
Yeah,
I said, I'm probably gonna.
Oh, I thought you said I did.
no, but it's ARPA money too, and this is an excellent use of that money. So
All right. Roll call.
Majeski,
Yes.
Bristol,
yes.
Fankin,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Kleinhardt,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Who did that one? You?
Yeah.
Answer, you take treasurer's office fees?
Approve the dog license fees as presented by the treasurer's office.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, fees, do we need roll call on that or?
For fees.
Yeah, all right. Roll call, please.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Majeski,
Yes.
Kleinhardt,
Yes.
Fankin,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, the next two, I feel we should probably wait till we hear from 44th North, so,
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so too.
um,
Would you like me to talk about do you want me to read my notes on the Public Act 152?
maybe after we hear from
Okay.
them,
Okay.
probably, that will probably take some time.
Yeah, it's gonna take some time.
We'll get into Lori's report.
Going to be short. The August election went well. We didn't have any major complications. We did a lot of prep work for it, so we were ready for any situation that we didn't have. So thankfully, we're already hard at work on the November election. It's a super time crunch from August to November to get everything done and ready. With the changes in my office, I am taking a training. Myself and two others are going to a training next week to program the elections. And so there'll be three of us in the office that'll be able to do that. So we'll be programming our November election at the training. So pretty excited about that. And there are rumblings about a May election already. So I was hoping for no elections next year, but maybe we will.
You know what that's about?
I don't want to say in case we don't want it to be public.
Okay.
Everything else is running smooth in my office.
Very nice. I had a lot of comments about what was in the paper about, well, why you combining the two. And
Oh.
I had good feedback that we did something like that to save some money. So there was a lot of people noticed and you had good support by doing that. So
Good. Thank you for that.
Did an excellent job with them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jenny, you got anything for us?
Jack had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't you think those elections here were secure?
I do believe they were secure here.
Okay, thank you.
Let Jenny give us a report so she don't have to stick around.
All right, good morning, everybody. Besides the statutory finance reports that I give you, I'm also giving you the penal fine payouts that we just did to the libraries. And just as a refresher, those are monies collected through the courts. Part of the fines go to the libraries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And so it's just a, sorry. The penal fine monies that went out this year, there are the local libraries within the county district. We paid out 174,000 of those fines collected. And we also are still holding on behalf of the populations in 2 of the townships. We're still holding some monies in escrow. Sheridan Township is really getting up there. Again, that's not township money. It's just money that needs to, eventually, if they decide to get a library out their way, those funds can go towards that. But this is a constitutional thing that we do. So there used to be 4 or 5 townships, and those have been released. And I think they combined those in with the district libraries. In this case, they're still sitting there in escrow. I updated, the next sheet, I updated the revenue trends. And the 2021 was the final audit that I gave you the last time. However, I did a close from Lori was able to adjust the budget enough to where I just went in for the budget that you have approved. If it is going to go the way you have it set up right now, we would end with an 18% ending fund balance, which is great. I mean, we still have a goal to increase that, but it's better than we have been. I don't know if you guys want me to explain any more on that. And then just the cash sheets, if you have any questions. The one that I hand you is the current cash that we have now in each fund, plus is the actual current fund balance and the investment. So this isn't or anything prior. This is actually as of today. Just a few quick notes in mind. The dog licenses that you have just approved, you guys actually set those. So these are set. There was just a couple things to streamline them in my office. Instead of having 3 replacement licenses, we just went to 1. So those are still yours. And then we do have the county land sale. That is next Tuesday. It's online only, tax-sale.info. There are 33 properties, which is a low number. We're trying to get that to 0 as much as we can. And of those 5 are places that we are in the process of having demolished. Any questions? Wonderful.
Good. Anybody got any questions for Jenny? We all right. 44 North.
You're here.
All right. Come on up.
Answers out start with last meeting we had everybody of what your renewal was going to look like this year for employee benefits. Actually, we're looking at a 44% increase. Claimants, we had a few cancer cases, which we know there's actually been some has been added claims since then. So what we did is we went back and we were looking at options. Obviously want to keep costs down for the county, and a couple of things that we kept in mind as we went out to market for you. Number one, you have some pretty rich union negotiated benefits, and so we wanted to make sure that there was going to be no change in the benefits that would cause you to go back into any kind of negotiation. So plan design hasn't made any changes with that, but we did go out and we were again just looking for opportunities for you. So we'll go through and we'll actually go through the option that we came to provide some savings from that renewal. Some things that you'll probably want to think about in the future is just next year, as any union contracts come up, you might want to actually look at, what you're doing when it comes to the hard cap, when it comes to PA 152 and the contributions that you're making. So within the spreadsheet, we are showing you maybe what that could look like in the future. This year, not making any changes to the structure when it comes to what the employees are going to be contributing, but we do think that it's pretty rich compared to what maybe other counties are providing. So we want you guys to take a look at some of those options maybe for next year's renewal. We did go out to market and we had really, because of those high claims, we had some pairs that really just completely declined to quote. So we reached out to Priority Health. They looked at the claims utilization. They declined to quote. We also had a decline to quote from Radion, which is kind of a new name out there, but we were looking for all options. And then we had no quote that came back from Jefferson Health Plan, which is more of a municipal focused plan. From there, we also had a Blue Cross quote. We're not showing that to you today, but it did not come back competitive. And so we looked at all of the options that were out there and came up with an opportunity for a little bit of savings there. So Jen's gonna have go through the spreadsheet with you.
All right, so as Sarah said, we did obviously go to market. Blues was not competitive. So what we came up with, we met with Lori and Jody on Monday, was that we will be eliminating that 44 North HRA that is in place. That's like a self-funded piece added to your fully insured plan. So that takes that high deductible, really a lesser expensive plan from ASR. And then we put the 44 North HRA on there to meet those union negotiated benefits to offer the 0 deductible or the $250 deductible, the lesser copays and all of that. So the benefit facing towards the employee is not changing. We are just buying that plan directly from ASR now. We're eliminating 44 North and the benefit is still as it faces today towards the employee at a little bit of a savings. So you'll see the current plan came back with a 33.9% increase. So that takes the annual total cost from $975,796 to $1.3 million. So we quoted that other plan, removing that 44 North HRA, and it came back with about a $215,000 savings. So it's at $1.19 million. And then the same for that base plan, or I'm sorry, the buyout plan, that was at $899,000. And that we quoted that with the renewal rate with a 44 North HRA is at about 1.3 million. And then with that alternate plan with no HRA, that's at 1.2 million.
And those are added together. So those total costs are added together because you have 56 employees on one plan currently and 65 employees on the other plan. And if the plan changes slightly during open enrollment, you know, they may opt to go to a different plan. So these costs would change a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And so with that 2% cost share that the employee faces, that actually has not changed a whole lot. As you can see, currently for a single on that base plan, they're paying $11.85. That will increase to $14.70 for a single. For a 2-person, it's $23.84. That will increase to $28.60. And for a family, it'll go from $30.68 to $37.59. And then for the buyout plan, you're faced with a single cost of $45.49. That is going to increase to $135.43. A 2-person is $98.26. That is going to be $278.66. And a family rate will also increase from $126.87 to $368.64. And we reviewed all these numbers with Lori and Jody. And that's why we showed, you know, not just the 2% that is currently what we're looking at today, but we showed what it would cost if there was the hard cap, which a lot of municipalities follow just that hard cap. So that amount could be quite a bit more if that's what was in place today. So we're just really trying to show these costs to show the employees that they are getting, you know, a pretty good deal from the county here.
So currently we do the 2% cost share. And so I asked them to show what a 5% cost share would look like for the employee and then a 10% cost share. what that would look like. So then we would have our premium on the one side and then what it would cost for the employee on the other side. And then this side would be the buy-up plan, this side is the basic plan. So just so that you can see those numbers. And then the hard cap, of course, is on the top.
Is there any additional risk for the county switching to this new plan?
No, none at all. Actually, it kind of eliminates some of the risk because that HRA piece is self-funded.
Mhm.
So, some months you could have 0 claims and other months you could have thousands of claims, as Lori knows, when those invoices come in. And generally it generates a savings. And there was still a small savings this year, but not enough to warrant not switching to the straight plan.
It's better, it would be better as for us. The employees would not see a difference, but it would be better for us because we would take on all of that risk.
And in the future, we can always switch back to the HRA once these claims kind of settle down. But like Sarah had mentioned, there's a few cancers on the policy. And so that's just not a risk worth taking this next year.
Are claims up with other counties as well?
I mean, it varies just based on your member health. So. Not seeing a huge spike, but like we presented at the last meeting, you've had a really good run for quite a few years, and now just these past 2 years and this year including, we've seen a little bit of an uptick.
So we got public hearing.
Yeah, you just gotta say, you gotta open the public.
How many
Can I interrupt for just one quick second? We need to open up the public hearing for the spongy moth.
open it
You
up?
just gotta open it now, and when you're done talking, if anybody has anything
Got
to
it,
say. But we have to open it at time.
All right, so you're back on. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
We don't have any opinion on this. So overall, if you look all the way to the right, right little box on the side too, we put all of the options together. And so going to this option, compared to your renewal, overall, it is going to save the county $202,560 compared to what would have happened if we just went forward with no change at all.
And what was that? $400,000, something like that?
It was 5.
If we renewed as is, it would be a cost change of $729,244.
So we're still gonna have another $500,000
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
than last year.
Yes.
Well, with the exception of our HRA money that is not in this number.
Well, it's an illustrative rate
It's an
calculated.
illustrative rate, right?
So definitely you won't have those claims coming in. And then there's also an administrative fee for administering that HRA. That actually will go away for the HRA as well. So that there will be some additional savings.
And that'll be about $18,000.
Okay, so where do we come up with 500,000 extra?
I don't know.
It'll be a good discussion for our workshop.
It will be, well, we gotta make a decision pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Jack has something to say.
How many other, oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Jack, you're good.
Yeah,
How many other counties do you do?
Well, we have over 100 county entities, whether that's county or road commission or some entity within the county. So we have quite a few municipalities.
Is there kind of a range that they're in, the policies they're taking? Are they fairly similar or are they all over the place?
This is definitely a very rich benefit. We also don't have that many counties that are completely opting out of the hard cap. Many of them are actually using the hard cap, so there's more of that share, I guess, with the employees than the 2% that Clare County is doing.
Has the hard cap changed much since it was implemented by the legislature?
It changes
Yep,
every year.
Every year it increases.
So the amount, the hard cap amount can go up each year, correct? Do quite a few of the counties go with the hard cap then, you said?
Yes, they do. And they usually offer multiple options, just like you do. They usually offer one that is maybe not as rich of a benefit, but the cost falls under the hard cap so that employees can still have that option. And then they have richer benefits, but then of course, the employees pay above whatever the hard cap is.
Okay, would you say that we're in the top 50% in benefits of the ones that you do?
As far as the better benefit that you're offering.
We're in the more than
Absolutely.
50%.
Yes.
We're in the top, right?
Top 10%.
Yeah,
Are we in the top 10%?
Yeah.
Yes.
Higher.
for sure. I mean, if you've got.
90,
deductible,
yeah.
Are we the best? Do we offer the best insurance?
I couldn't say that for sure. If you were like number one when it comes to counties and what you're offering,
Right.
but you're
In the
certainly
top.
high.
So we either pay this money or we raise wages. You know what I mean? That's kind of what we're balancing here, right? So it's,
Well, we can't do it all.
yeah, I know.
There's just, so if you think about with insurance, with health insurance, wages, liability and workman's comp, we're at about $8.6 million. That's nothing else, okay? So in our operations money that we have coming in from, you know, the taxes are 5.6 million, maybe 5.8 million. It depends. I mean, we don't know yet, you know, till the end of this fiscal year, but. So I understand that people want wage increases. We need to think about that. But they also want a, you know, a great benefit package. Where is the balance? We cannot do all of it. We can't.
Right.
There isn't enough money to do all of that. So, and we're at a critical point right now because we just got the numbers back on Monday. And we have to, 44 North needs 30 days after it's voted on to prepare for the open enrollment. And everybody has to be in their insurance plan by October 1st. So it is a critical point, and I did not have enough time. I just
Oh,
didn't have enough
I'm
time.
not criticizing or anything
Well,
like that.
we're currently locked in with union contract with,
We are locked in with some contracts, yes,
we have to have that
yes.
for this year.
For this year, we are locked in with 3 contracts,
I guess that's.
This won't be
Well, no.
forever either.
maybe 5 contracts, but I do know that the court contracts are open and in negotiation right now.
That's where we would look to come in with you guys, especially, you know, once those union contracts are maybe open up again for negotiation, is how can we help with benchmarking, to your point, Jack, about, you know, how do you compare with other counties, that we can help with that kind of data so that you guys are armed with more information too when you come to those kinds of negotiations.
I took all these numbers and separated them by each department, by each person, so we assigned. We went through every person that gets in the insurance and what plan they get. And if they're 1 person, 2 person, or family. So we did this yesterday. We went through and we input all of that information into the 2023 budget. So where we are right now is a deficit, would be a deficit of about $300,000. But that's an arbitrary number because we, you know, like we budgeted for 13,999 this fiscal year, and I don't even think we're going to come close to spending that. So so with these numbers, I understand that it's a $526,000 increase. However, with it being already budgeted in to see what it looked like in the 23 budget, you know, you're playing with a $300,000 deficit right now.
So what do you recommend to do?
Lori, that 500,000 does not account for the employee cost share either.
Right, but I did do that. I did figure the employee cost share, so. Well, I mean, I wish we had more time. I don't want to take this benefit away from the employees right now. I just don't think it's a good time. And I really want to see what, I'd like to get a year under my belt and see what it looks like. and this is just my opinion, you're the board, you make the decision. And I'd like to see what our utilization is, you know, for the next year, get a year under my belt, possibly with the negotiations for the, I mean, I don't even know if I can talk about that right now, but, you know, for contracts, we, you know, opt out this year. And then really research this and, you know, follow it very closely for the next year. You know, at least let the employees know that, hey, look, this is where we're at. This is where we ended our year. I'm not even sure where we're going to end our year. But this is what we need to start looking at in the future. So instead of springing it on them.
I think Jack asked some very good questions.
Okay, Laurie, what is the least amount of cost that we can get by for another year? Well, maybe
The least amount of cost for insurance?
yeah. I mean, no,
Extra?
I mean, if we leave it like it is.
500,000 extra.
Oh, if we leave it exactly how it is right now.
Yeah.
It's gonna cost us more money, I'm sure, and it opens us up to a lot more liability. So it'll be the exact same as what it is for the employees, but for us, ASR is taking on the HRA responsibility and we are not. So we don't have that liability for large claims like what we do right now, because we have a self-insured HRA right now. So it gives the same insurance to the employee. It gives them the same benefit, but it just changes for us, our liability for, and we don't have that for the HRA. ASR is willing to take that on.
Right. For 500 and some thousand extra.
Yes. Well, it's $526,684. However, you have to take away the 2%. So taking away the 2% for the general fund, okay, just for the general fund, it would be approximately $1.9 million. So total.
I don't think we have a choice at this point. We've got to make the change.
I'm thinking we're not answering Jack's question. You're not, are we? You're talking, if we keep it the same, I think it was an increase of 700 and some $1,000. By taking it, changing it, it's 500. So it saved that 202,000 that's on that line there is
Yes,
what
you're-
that
yes,
was said.
I'm sorry.
By changing to the program.
Right, that we're talking about now.
And so the employees, where's the 200,000 coming from if we lower it? Do the employees have to do more?
No,
There,
it won't change for the
change
employees.
for the employees.
No change for the employees.
Well, we take on more deductible.
No,
Just overall
So
cost.
it's the same insurance, but it's, instead of being 700 and some thousand, it's 500 and some thousand, right?
yes.
Okay, so where's the 200,000? I mean, what are they?
Leaving some of the liability
Yes,
that's out there for,
relieving some of the liability because we have a self-insured HRA. So we pay a monthly bill to 44 North for a cost for our insurance. So, and I think it's between what the employee pays and what the ASR deductible is. We take that on right now, and we've taken that on for years. Some people don't use up to the $5,000 deductible with ASR. But let's say more people did this next year, our liability, our self-insured HRA would cost more money, would cost us more money. And they're figuring that cost in to the $700,000 because of our high utilization. If we eliminate the HRA, our self-insured HRA, ASR, the insurance company, takes on that liability for us for $526,000 because they're banking on that's all it's going to be is $526,000.
So we get a fixed cost with option B. Option A, there's a variable cost.
Yes.
The cost to it.
So the current one You know, they're guessing it will be about 700,000, but it might be more.
You don't know.
But ASR is willing to take that portion on for the $526,000. Am I making any
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, I got it.
I'm trying to.
And I think we need to bring up that the reason for the 700 and some thousand is that we had so many claims, they lost a lot of money, so it had to jump to that rate per our
Yes.
previous meeting.
Yes, and I passed out that information that I took back. It's the high utilization.
It's confusing.
I have called them so many times and asked so many questions.
Okay.
So your recommendation is to
To balance, yeah.
do the $500,000. And with that, if we opted out of 152, that's the hard cap? Is that
Yeah,
what
we
that
would
is?
opt out of the hard cap unless you want to
And then,
do the hard cap for. I mean, I just think it's too soon to do that. Considering the employees their new insurance will start October 1st and. I mean, if it's something that we're gonna do in the future, it's something we need to, work into. But I think we need to get through the high utilization period.
Yep.
And see, where we're at. This is a benefit that this county really has always been proud of offering to their employees. They don't have the higher wages, but they do have a good benefit package.
So what you're saying is the hard cap, not to opt out of it now, but later,
No, opt out.
opt out now.
Opt out of Public Act 152.
we decided we can opt back in, correct?
Yes.
That's,
And I do have a question on that, though. If we ever decide not to opt out of Public Act 152 and go to a hard cap, could we ever go back? You can always, so every year,
Vote on it here every year.
Yeah.
It'll just be another vote.
okay, so it's just a vote every year that we do. So if we ever decided to not opt out, we could the next year decide to opt out. Okay, I didn't know if it was one of those things where you decided not to opt out and then you were stuck.
All right.
Give me that increase one more time, please.
500.
Right here, never mind, I wasn't looking at that. Okay, thank you.
do we feel we need to do both those motions today?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're gonna have to do both of them.
Whose turn is it? Jack's? Jack, you ready to do motions or you need some more time?
No, I'm ready to do motions. I can find my motions now. Okay. Okay, that would be the
Health insurance one.
motion to opt out of Public Act 152 and continue to pass on a 2% cost share to Clare County employees.
Second.
Motion, we got a second. We discussed it already. Roll call, please.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Majewski.
Yep.
Bankin,
Yes.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Jack, Brownman, you take two.
Motion to adopt our health insurance renewal with ASR with the same benefit coverage as last year.
Motion, we got a second.
I'll second that.
Motion second. We'll roll call this one too, please.
Asplund,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Majewski,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Bankin,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yeah.
Motion carried.
Okay.
So we're gonna we would schedule an open enrollment on September 13th, and we're gonna do 9:00 in the morning. We're gonna do a meeting with employees that can make it at 9:00. They're gonna do it at 1:00. with employees that can make it at 1 o'clock and they're gonna do it at 5 o'clock. And then between those times that they do the presentation, they will sit down and actually assist employees in signing up through their B-Swift. It's called B-Swift. So that all questions are answered by the employees, and there are 3 different times that employees can make sure that they make it. And if we need to schedule another day, we can schedule another day. But there seems to be a lot of questions after the enrollment. So we want to make sure that everybody has all the information and they know what to do on the enrollment. So that will be on September 13th.
What is your slow time of year?
March, for like 2 weeks, March.
Why I say that is, I think as a board, we need some further education, and myself personally, I do, I know that, because this is like Greek to me. I don't understand it, and there's a high dollar value there, so if we could schedule a time for you to come in and have a workshop to educate on this, so we know we're gonna make good decisions.
Yes.
It would be appreciated.
Do you want that during the board meeting?
No.
Just do a workshop. Russ.
Workshop separate.
Yeah, and that doesn't have to be clear out till March. We can accommodate that.
Perfect. We'll have Lori get in contact with you.
Do it right now.
Okay. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we need to spongy moth discussion? Does that happen anytime? or-
I did have a couple of comments for spongy moth that I got. I was at Hatton Township meeting last night, and they asked me to relay to you that they unanimously vote for 0 setbacks. And then this is a letter that Dennis Zimmerman, Lincoln Township Supervisor, sent to Lori and Lori. And he writes, at last night's regular monthly board meeting, we discussed your letter regarding the proposal to consider the buffers, eliminating and/or setback zone opt-out for the spraying of spongy moth. This included discussion from approximately 25 persons present in the audience of our meeting. By unanimous consensus of our board, we determined that we are in favor of the proposal of opting out. It might also be of interest to know that there were no objections from the audience. And then he went on to talk about several reasons why, the bacteria and, that it's already exists in our area. It seems to be a waste of money to leave 600 feet or even 100 feet of no spray zones in an area that qualifies for spraying due to an excessive amount of egg masses when there is no harm to other life forms other than those targeted. It might also be of interest to note for the 2022 spraying season, we in Lincoln Township have had almost exclusively very positive comments regarding this year's program. In conclusion, Lincoln Township supports either reducing or eliminating the current opt-out and setback minimum for spray application. Those are the comments that I had.
Surrey Township was also in favor of lowering them as well.
Yeah. Ross Township as well.
Can I make some comments?
Of course you can.
My name is Tony Mason, I'm the Gypsy Moth Program Coordinator. And I have done some research in other counties in the state, St. Clair County, for one. And it's such a range. There are some do 0, some do 150, some do 300. We are the only ones that do 6. But after hearing from Al Schiffler, the spray company, he says he doesn't think he can guarantee to keep all the spray off with a 150-foot buffer. We could go 300 and see what happens, but we need to make sure who is liable if there's a problem, which is a big question that I have, is the liability. Where does it lay? And I thought maybe we could get a legal opinion on that before we.
We do have a legal
make the
opinion.
change.
We do have a legal opinion on that. I can go get it.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
I also have from I went to Freeman Township meeting the other night. And as the meeting on this topic closed, they were like at 150 feet. That's a plains width, which seems to be what several other counties are going with. But again, my main concern is the legalities, so who is responsible
If what could happen though?
Well,
It's supposedly 100% safe.
That's correct. I had people opt out this year, several, simply stating that it was their rights to make that choice, whether they want this sprayed on their property or not. So I don't really know how to handle them that way myself. I think 150 foot would be great. 0 would be better. I don't know the legalities of it.
we find out 10 years from now. that-
Here's the thing that, though, on this discussion point, when you talk to them about the spraying and you talk to, what are you gonna tell the people that are mad because their neighbor opted out? They say, well, it's probably not a big deal because you're gonna get overspray anyways. So how can you say 150 feet? You might as well say you're getting sprayed at that close of a distance, you know, with, it can't be that accurate. So
That is,
you're gonna have 150, might as well have nothing.
I mean, if we can legally bypass that whole opt-out process, that would be in this county, that would be the wish of most. But I don't want to do anything like that unless I know that we're covered.
How many opt-outs did you have?
I started out, I have a binder, it's about that thick. Started out with about 50 to 60. And after calls and, meeting with the people, we brought it down. So there was probably like 20 to 25 when it was all said and done. But that affected so many people, like over at Lake of the Pines. One opt-out was here and one was here. So that's 600 feet all the way around all those properties. And there's a lot of people unhappy.
What's in the best interest of Clare County as a whole?
That was just be an opinion of mine. I guess I got no thing, but I would say to just not have any buffers.
Yes,
I would think,
that's my opinion. too.
if it is correct that it's 100% safe.
Yeah, I think we gotta look at. what
Can people be allergic to it?
Liability.
I'm not a chemist. I guess I don't know that, but
I'm allergic to sandy, but I set fire every time. Once.
How much of the county was sprayed?
We sprayed 24,500 acres.
Okay, that would be, I don't know the acreage of the county. How many % of the county?
Acres of the county is like 368,000.
So you only spray where there's egg masses and stuff. I mean, I've had people say to me that they had gypsy moths or spongy moths, and the egg ate their trees up, but they didn't get sprayed because the egg counts weren't high enough. So, I mean, that's a decision that has to be made. You can't spray them all. We all know that.
Right. Well, the spray blocks are determined on the counts which are starting next week. So they go out and they count the areas. The highest counts are how the spray blocks are originated, and then the most amount of people being affected by those counts. So people who like have 40, 80 acres backed up to state land, maybe on two sides and no neighbors, chances are they won't get in a spray block because there's only that one house and all the rest of this is state land behind it or around it. And then you got over here, you've got a lake association or something, or just a subdivision where it's only 20 acres, but it's 20 houses. So you have to take all that into effect. The program's goal, we're not going to eradicate them. So it's really to minimize the nuisance that they create to people as they're trying to
So
get outside.
the state doesn't spray any of their land?
No.
Do they give you a reason why?
No, I went to one of our state representatives last year. Just randomly, I didn't know he lived there, but it was his house and he did have a few gypsy moth caterpillars going on, but not a lot. And I asked him, well, why doesn't the state contribute to this? Because he's from this area, he knows how bad it was over the last 2 years. And he said it's in the budget that's coming out in October. So we waited, this conversation was like in early September. And when October came, there was no money in the budget. So I don't know why they don't. I was told they did.
You think it's cost? They don't want to appropriate the money to spray their land?
I think they might look at the whole situation as gypsy moths move. Spongy moths, they tend to move. So they do a cycle 3 to 5 years in an area and then they tend to move on. And they just feel it's nature and they're gonna let it run its
Let it
course.
run its course. I know that if you live in an area that has some, now, I'm fortunate, I have none, I've never seen one around, anywhere around my place.
We're very fortunate.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I have seen it. If you live under a tree or whatever that has them, it's nasty. But the damaged part of the tree, could you tell me what happens to a tree if they're continuously affected with gypsy moths?
As they are defoliated, it weakens the tree. And then, you know, they releaf. So they're taking away what they have stored up for the winter months to push out these new leaves, like probably the stage we're in right now. And year after year of that happening, the tree becomes very vulnerable to other diseases and things that might cause it to not survive.
So you think other diseases actually get the tree because it's weakened by the gypsy or spongy moths?
I think that, yeah, as a tree weakens for, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years in a row, it does make it susceptible to a lot of other diseases, oak wilt, things like that, that are in the area or close by.
Okay, well, that's why I think the state, they've got just thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of oak trees and all of them. You would think they'd want to protect their resource, wouldn't you?
You would think, with all the clear cuts I see going on, I don't really know what they think. To be honest with you, I don't understand why they wouldn't at least contribute to areas that are infested, but.
I understand what you're saying. Okay. Laurie hasn't come back.
Waiting for.
Do you think they peaked and they've moved on? Probably 30 years ago, that's when we had a millage here back then for gypsy moth control. And then it just they moved on, bothered somebody else. Do you think they peaked here?
In some areas they have, but I think last year they actually crashed. And now Garfield Township it's been hit pretty hard this year. 5 Lakes in Grant Township has been hit pretty hard. Went out yesterday and there's new egg masses, several thousands of egg masses. So we know next spring it's going to start all over, only in these areas. So they've moved, but yes, they're still in the county.
When do they lay their eggs?
That's in the works right now if they haven't already been done. So usually about the second week of August through first of September.
If they were sprayed and contained, it just seems like the egg mass would be way down, wouldn't it?
Yes. Like all I can go by is like where I live.
And I've had them really bad. Would have been my 4th year. And I was sprayed. So as the egg masses hatched this year, I had the small caterpillars, lots of them. But I didn't see them anywhere except on the egg masses. And then they sprayed. Shortly afterwards, I started seeing the frass from the caterpillars on my deck, to the point where you'd have to clean it 3 times a day. And day by day, those little pieces of frass got bigger and bigger and bigger till they were, pretty good size. So I know they were there because I was covered in that, but I didn't have the caterpillars all around my house. So they were up there eating those leaves
That were sprayed on.
that we sprayed and dying. Because I didn't have, like usually in the past few years, they would crawl my deck rails and my porch like army ants coming in. And they'd be all over your house. And this year I didn't have any of that, but I did have the frass all over my deck. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. Thank
So, I mean, I think what I saw on my own property this year, the spray worked. But the year before, I had them equally as bad and they sprayed and it still had the caterpillars.
Okay.
This would have been, so this was spray year number 2. They say 3 in a row is the best, but
Okay, so 1 year spraying won't take care of them for next
I
year.
think it minimizes it, but you see a greater effect on the second. And I don't know on the 3rd year because I haven't been there, and where I live, we don't really have enough egg masses to warrant that 3rd year spray. So.
It's kind of exponential. That spray is only like 60% effective. It's just made so it doesn't totally defoliate your trees. So that first year, if you have 20 billion of them little caterpillars, you take 60% off that's it. The egg masses, there's going to be a bunch of them that year. You just kind of knock that again in half by 60%. And it does show up a lot better that way.
Do they have a natural enemy?
Yeah.
Some of the bacteria, right?
Right, the
Yep.
virus and the bacteria. I'm seeing a lot right now, the little parasitic wasps. And the ones I looked at yesterday over in 5 Lakes had a lot of that going on. So there are a few things that.
Those wasps I heard are. Lori, what'd you find?
I didn't find it yet. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Do you know what it said?
It said that it's the commissioner's responsibility to set the setbacks. They can opt out of, or they don't have to set any setbacks, but it's the Board of Commissioners' responsibility to decide what those are.
But what's the liability?
There isn't any liability.
So I think that should be the person spraying. If there's
Yeah, there
anything
is-
wrong with
there
that
is.
chemical, he should have the liability.
Can't give away your liability. I mean, even though he does the spraying, he's a contractor of ours. Right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if there is any liability.
Plane crashes, maybe.
Well,
I mean, it was,
Do we need to discuss, to make a decision today? I know we kicked it down from the last meeting, but the gypsy moths are done for the year, and maybe we could get a legal opinion before we mess with the setbacks now, and there is a liability issue. That's the only
Yeah.
thing. Could we discuss this at next
yes,
meeting or whatever?
yes, we certainly can. We're just gathering information, and that's why we're having the public hearing. Because there has been requests for eliminating the setbacks or changing the setbacks. But keep in mind that it was out to a vote of the people to, have the spray, have the millage
Yeah.
to spray. So the liability for the county, I don't think there is any liability to the county if you change the setbacks, but I can find out for sure.
So why do we set the setbacks for them?
I have no idea.
For our time.
It was a long time ago.
For the people that want to-
Township, I was asked the question, why do we allow an opt-out program at all. And does that drastically affect everyone else in the county? Because if we eliminated the opt-out and they passed the millage to spray, we should be able to spray the whole county and have more effective coverage. That's what they asked when I was at Grant.
That's kind of what the opt-out means you have to have a 600-foot buffer. So that's what this discussion is. We want to make it less or no buffer or no opt-out. I agree with that, so.
I just have a question about the state land, is that can't be sprayed and that has a 600-foot buffer? Is that 600-foot buffer around state land? Is that mandated by the state? They don't want any spray near the state land, or is that part of our?
Well, we don't want to spend the county money to spray the state land.
Right, but I have people that live on Clarosky Road, and directly across the street from their houses is state land, Roscommon County. And so they missed getting sprayed because of that 600-foot buffer from Roscommon County state land.
Well, I communicate with Roscommon County and they don't do an opt-out.
Okay, do they even spray up there?
They did, but only like 4,000 acres.
Okay.
The state's not opting out. They're just not paying for it, correct?
Correct.
Okay, got
So
it.
there's no opt-out. They're just
Okay.
not paying for it.
All right, so.
John, you be next, okay? All right.
Yeah, it's the same as TransCanada. TransCanada doesn't spray either, and they
Okay,
have 2 sections.
yeah,
So we may get a legal opinion.
yep,
Yep.
thanks.
Question, what township you live in?
Lincoln.
John Marion, live in Hayes Township. I've been here before talking about gypsy moth. Last year, we didn't get, or this year, we didn't get sprayed. The year before, I came in here and complained because what he claimed he sprayed, he really didn't spray. And there's a whole controversy about that. I stood on my deck and watched him fly diagonally across the lake instead of horizontally along the shoreline. The whole issue is right now is, are we doing it the best way with the best technology that we know of to do this? And we get into this egg mass count thing, which drives me crazy. Because number one, you don't want to take those down until they count. Duh, that's crazy. But if you don't mess with them, they're not going to be able to count them, and you're not going to have a high enough number where you're going to be able to become a spray block. This last year, we weren't a spray block. This year, I probably could have counted on one hand how many gypsy moths I saw. It wasn't, for whatever reason, they weren't there. But the year before, we were inundated with them. What happens, and she mentions it stresses the trees. I right now have 5 trees that I've lost to oak wilt. And how do you stop that? With chainsaw. That's about it. And my guess is I'm gonna probably lose every oak tree on my property because of that. I think what we need to look at is what other counties are doing, and somebody just mentioned that other counties don't even offer an opt-out. Thank you. If it's 100% safe, why are we saying I don't want to do it, other than somebody just being obstinate where I don't want that plane spraying that? That's nuts. I mean, it's for the benefit of the whole community that we should do that. And a year ago, the opt-out thing was crazy. And then she's going out and has to sit down and talk to these people and try to talk them into saying they shouldn't do the opt-out and you should spray. That's putting a lot of time and energy on her. That's crazy. And I still go back to over a year ago when they were just inundated with phone calls and people calling and complaining. And then this last year, at least around us, wasn't that bad. But 3 neighbors away, she had caterpillars crawling on her house like crazy. I don't get it. But I still think what we need to look at is what are some of the other counties in the state doing, and maybe mirror them, because this is a very complex issue that you're looking at. And should we even how many offer the opt-out? If they don't, forget it. Don't even offer it. That's not an option. We're gonna spray. That's it. You don't want to be in it, stay indoors. You know, it's that simple.
Kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
But we
Right.
just want to ask one more legal opinion on liability. And then, because I agree there shouldn't be none, and I feel that we will throw that vote in front of us.
And the other thing I question is, what are some of the other states in this country even doing? How do they do it? How do they, because they've got oak wilt way or gypsy moth issues way worse than what we have in some areas. But again, it depends on the area of the county too. Where do you have most of your hardwoods? You know, that's the area that's gonna get hit the most, where you got the hardwoods and the oak trees. So I just think that's the one issue that I looked at that I thought was nuts that they even offered to opt out. And then from there, I still think we need to look at a study of what's the best procedure. And like you questioned this last year, what, just spray 20% of the county? Yikes. That seems like a drop in the bucket. And then when you look at the amount of money we're still spending to do that, that's staggering. You know, a year ago was $800,000.
It's expensive.
Yeah, I still think we need to buy an airplane. I'm serious. I think you can find somebody who could fly the damn thing and store it over at, you know, well, we've got our own airport we can put it at, but we don't have fuel yet. So that's the issue. But I'm thinking that might be something that we could consider. It's like crop dusting. When a guy crop dusts, I guarantee he puts that stuff down. He knows where every drop of it's landing. And for him to say that he couldn't come through and spray and maintain 150-foot buffer, I don't agree with that. I don't think he's being honest with us, because a crop duster, I guarantee, does a hell of a lot more accurate job than that for spraying a field. He ain't got no.
Yeah, I'm sure of that, but also he probably gets a lot closer to the ground also too, to lay it down.
He was pretty damn close when he went over the neighbor's house, but didn't go over my house. Thank you for your time.
John, thank you.
Jeff, when we talk about the liability, you know, Clare County has a pretty robust organic farming system. The Amish are pretty organic. And that would be something that, you know, they have opt out, no spray zones. You'll see them on signs when you go by those places where no spray. And I don't know whether this would endanger their organic thing. That would be a question that the USDA would have to ask, but there are some hidden things there that we need to talk about, you know, to make sure.
I didn't even think of that. That's a very valid point. You know,
Would it affect their organic deal? I doubt it, but I don't know.
Couple good questions we need to answer, probably, to have all the information before we do vote.
The spraying though is in the northern, mostly the northern part of the county, and the farmers in the southern part, they're not getting, they don't have the problem anyhow. Or maybe they're talking about like roadside spraying in the ditches, you know, by the road commission and stuff. But I don't think down where you're living that it's ever been sprayed or it's gonna need to be sprayed.
Well, I seen the plane, you know, over some, you know, this last spring there. They've never sprayed on my place or whatever, but they have to become a certified organic farm.
I understand.
They have to certify that there has been no herbicide on that field for about 5 years. And if they do, then they lose that certification. Now, that's weed killer, that's herbicide, talking a different thing.
Yeah.
But still, they come out and you have to sign papers. I sold some hay to a guy, signed papers that there had been no Roundup, no herbicide or whatever on that for at least 5 years. So the USDA certifies that. So we would need to make sure that we're not gonna open a can of worms there.
It's a,
Doubt,
yeah, it's
I
a.
think it'll be fine to check. I think that's good. That's a very valid point.
Yes.
Clare County is requesting a legal opinion of the possibility of liability if we eliminate the opt-out option for spongy moss spraying or reduce the setbacks for the spongy moss spraying. Is there anything else specific you would like in that legal opinion?
Wonder if the MSU extension could tell us if that's the case.
no, that's a good, they were here.
I know it.
We should have asked them.
Okay, we can ask them in the meantime. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to just ask them.
Mhm.
Probably not, but I'm not sure.
And I do feel also that I was told that if you have a bigger chunk of open field, that they won't put that in a spray block anyways.
Yeah, they just spray around the
They
house.
spray around the field, so maybe that'd be good enough to keep their organic status also, but I think good stuff to check on.
Well, see, up around on Browns Road, there's some farms up there and they sprayed that block there.
Yeah,
So
right,
Omni's farm.
right. Any more on the spongy moss? Okay,
Closing the public hearing.
yeah, till it comes up on the agenda, right?
Yeah, you can just close it if you want.
Okay,
Are you closing it or no?
yeah, let's close the public hearing. Michelle, you got anything for us?
I do.
Good morning. How is everybody?
Good, fine.
So we finished up our request for a no-cost extension for our 2020 grant, which is the grant that deals with violent crime. I got an email this morning that says that we were approved for that no-cost extension, so it will continue through the end of September of 2023. So that is good news.
Good.
Things went well at the fair. We had a lot of people come by the booth, ask questions, pick up pamphlets. So I think that was pretty helpful and it was a success. We are, I don't know if you were aware, but Mark, who was our grant funded attorney, left. He is now working for the Isabella County Prosecutor's Office. He received a $5,000 pay increase. There are regular salary step increases there at his new employment. There is a 7% county match to his MERS, and he has a lower caseload. And he left because the position that he was in that was grant funded was a previous permanent position in my office. We moved it under the grant because if you recall, the county was having financial difficulty. And so we moved it under the grant to help assist with the budget. But because there were no guarantees from the board that it would become a permanent position again, he took a position elsewhere because why would you stick around for 14 months if you don't have a permanent job after that? You're going to go somewhere where it's permanent. So I'm curious where we are at with the step increases. I've been asking since 2012 for step increases for the attorneys. I'm just wondering if we're making any headway with that.
I would say there's no headway being made. We're waiting for the 2023 budget before we start the wage committee for raises coming up. And as soon as that's done, we're gonna start that back on. But with Tracy leaving and Lori stepping on and not having a total grasp of how much money is out there right yet, that we are waiting till that, and then we are looking at all that.
Okay.
And then each department will be welcome to come in and put in their concerns, what they feel is going on and what you feel we need to do, and we need to see what money we got and make it right.
Okay. We still have the open ARPA funded position at 65,000. That's been open for well over 8 months now. We have had one applicant that interviewed. While we were going through the background check process, he called and advised that he took a better offer. So that position is still open. So in an office that has been determined via a study that requires 7 attorneys, we had 5 attorneys, we now have 3 attorneys. And I have an attorney that's interviewing for other positions because it's higher pay, salary step increases. So we aren't competing with other, we just aren't. So we are now with 3 of us at an average of 309 cases per attorney. So your constituents are now receiving bargain basement justice. I think it's horrific, but you need to know it because those are your constituents. We are now forced to triage. I am not prosecuting driving offenses unless it's drunk driving. So if you're driving without a license, you're driving without insurance, you get a pass because I don't have time. If you're committing non-violent misdemeanor offenses, guess what? You're getting a pass because I don't have time. If you're committing non-violent felony offenses, you might get a pass because I don't have time. It depends because it's a felony, so we'll give it a little bit more due consideration, but we are focusing our time on the violent crime that is coming before us because we have to. I have to make a decision. Where am I going to focus the resources that I have? And I can tell you at an average of 309 cases per attorneys, we don't have time to give to the cases that we want. I have 59 cases sitting in review right now. People who have been victims of crimes are waiting for something to happen, and they're gonna have to wait because I have a murder trial next month. I now have the trials that Mark had scheduled. Those are now mine to prepare for. On top of the administrative duties that I do, on top of the grant administrative duties that I do. And the other attorneys in my office are stressed and strapped as well. So something needs to change. And that sits in your lap. So I just want you to be aware of the lay of the land and not being threatening. I'm just telling you the facts as they are. Do with it what you will.
Out of 309 cases, what do you got?
We have 2 murders. We have a lot of criminal sexual conduct against children. Those are time-consuming cases. We have a lot of assaultive cases. And Under Sheriff, it was in a matter of 3 days, we had 2 assault with intent to murder cases come through.
So out of them 309, how, obviously you might not be able to answer this, but do they get taken care of in a month? I mean, what kind of time frame does that happen?
These are the current open cases. So you got to think of it as a rolling. Like,
Somebody's still back from COVID when they went, no one could be tried for that long?
From COVID, a lot of them are new. Like I said, we have 68 pending review right now. There's 68 cases that are waiting for us. 59 of those are on my docket. So crime doesn't stop. It continues. People continue to commit crime. We get new cases in every day that we have to review and take care of. I mean, for a regular driving while license suspended case, that is 45 minutes of my time, generally. Between reading the police report, collecting the information that I need if it goes to trial, preparing the documentation to file with the court, and then any court time if it pleads at the beginning. So if it resolves at first hearing, we've got 45 minutes tied up into that. But we have enough traffic that comes through between all of the departments that we work for that I could put 1 attorney strictly on traffic. So, which is why we've decided that we aren't doing traffic. There are some, that I make an exception for, depending on what the circumstances are. We might say, okay, this is one that we need to pursue because there needs to be some consequences for the behavior, but otherwise. So.
Michelle, could you give me a copy of that study?
You should have it. I've provided it to the board. But I'll give that to you.
Thank you.
The magistrates can't knock any of that off for you as far as a traffic violation or?
No, because if it's a misdemeanor, it goes through our office first.
Okay.
Civil infractions don't come to us unless they request a formal hearing. Then we get involved, but very rarely do people request a formal hearing.
I might be way off base, but until we get the wage settled and find new people, like the minor stuff, can that be farmed out to a attorney's office to do the legwork for you? No,
They need to be sworn in as an assistant prosecutor in order to act under my authority. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Wayne?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Dwayne.
First and foremost, most important thing for us, recent events you're aware of. Unfortunately, we had the loss of Mounted Deputy Nicole Schuff on July 29th after an in the line of duty mounted accident at the fairgrounds. Want to say I'm proud of all of our staff, all the other agencies, and I'm grateful how everyone stepped up for the family. We thank you guys again for all the support, you, the other agencies and the public. That meant a lot to the family and our staff. Tough thing to go through as an agency. Fortunately, most don't have to live that. Other than that, our folks continued to work through the fair and did their jobs. I'm proud of them. The road, a lot of activity, like the prosecutor just said. It's never letting up. There's always something. We had something this morning. They continue to solve crime. They're doing a great job. Some people are trying to get their time with their own families, so others are pulling the extra weight when they do that. So I thank them for that. The jail revenue is doing well. Lori and I've met several times. No concerns there for the closeout at the end of the year. And again, guys, I want to say it's very important that we appreciate the corrections staff. What it takes them to pull that off is not easy. There's transports pretty much every day. They don't always deal with nice things with some of the clients that we have to bring that revenue. So I'd like to thank them as well. School, just around the corner, we all know, we have a couple new liaisons. Deputy Aldrich will be in the Harrison schools and Deputy Olson will now be in the Farwell schools. So they're gearing up for that. I think everybody's ready. All the kiddos are getting ready to go back to school. And other than that, we're closing out the summer. Anyone have any questions for us that can help clarify?
Thanks, Dwayne.
Thank you.
It's me. I don't have a lot, other than the fact that the Harrison Street Fair is coming up at the end of the month, so should be a good time. And I did hear had a lot of contacts about the lake level thing going on, so
Oh, my.
I feel that we need to hear from some people and take our time and look at that. So other than that, that's all I got.
Yeah, me, just attending my meetings. That was a big discussion. I attended the Lake George Drain Commission assessment meeting. There's a lot of concern out there for the cost, for the reasons why there's an assessment. It's people have some valid points. So that's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Rick?
Mine the same thing, the communication on the lake levels. Anything else?
Andy?
I worked as an election inspector in Lincoln Township election, and that was incredible experience. I really enjoyed that. I think the turnout at the precincts was like moderate. Lori, would you say that? Yeah, moderate. Lincoln, it was very busy. The people in Hamilton Township were a little confused by the people in Dodge City were confused by the results for the commissioners being elected. That quarter of Hamilton Township that was cut out that has Dodge City in it. The fellow that ran against Jack, he won in that section there, and they were surprised by that. Okay, so to explain about the gerrymandering. The rest of the townships are still concerned about brining and road work. They're happy with the things that the road commission is doing, but the most of the talk is about brining. And the road commission are pretty close to catching up on a 3-year backlog of jobs. So there was that. Community mental health. I'm the representative on the board of directors there. And in the summer months, we travel to each of the different counties and have our monthly meetings there. This month is in Reed City. I enjoy doing that quite a bit. Region 7 did, Area Agency on Aging didn't have a July meeting, but I went anyhow. It was a surprise. So I got to pay better attention to the calendar there. Apparently, they never have a meeting in July, and I think that's the second time I've done that. Okay. I went to the Hayes Township special meeting that they had recently, and they're working on ordinance, a zoning ordinance. And there was a conversation after that about what could happen at the airport. And correct me if I get it wrong, but I thought that I was told that the airport can have only events that have to do with airplanes and that kind of thing, and we don't have to get a permit, correct?
For aeronautical.
Yeah, okay, all right, like hot air balloons and things like that? Yeah,
Special use.
okay, we say that again?
The airport zoning for that property is just for airplanes and aeronautical events.
Okay, and and I understood that we didn't even have to apply for a zoning permit for those.
Correct.
Okay, all right, so there's that. At the transit board meeting, the roof is leaking, they're gonna get that fixed. They still don't have enough drivers to start up driving the buses on Saturday. So they're trying desperately to get more drivers. It's hard all around. I went over to Gladwin Airport yesterday and talked for half an hour with their manager, and I brought a book back for you that has a lot of things from the state, and I'll give that to you. He was surprised that there wasn't more community support from Hayes Township about how much good it does for the community when you have an event like the drag races that we had, or the dirt dash. I'm gonna visit with the Claire's airport manager too and talk to them just to get some ideas from them. That might be it. Do you want me to make up some more stuff?
No,
Okay.
you're out of time anyways. All right.
Okay.
Samantha?
I don't have anything. Did you get the report about the leak in the basement meeting room? We have a leak. When I was down there for the lake
Yes, I
levels.
got it.
Okay, all right, good, thanks.
Jack?
I think
Yeah.
Conley?
I went to the Long Lake Special, and Sandy did as well, in special assessment meeting, and there's a lot of concern there. Also, I went to the National Association of Counties Annual Conference, and Lori was going to go and accept her award, but she wasn't able to because her mother had broken back. So I accepted it for her, and I would like to present it to her, our special esteemed administrator.
Better get a picture of that.
Yes.
Yeah, wow,
Yes.
that's perfect.
It's quite an honor.
Goodness.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. That's not-
That paper down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A little closer.
20 likes?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the 24th.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for.
Thank you.
Counting.
Yes, yeah. And, Michigan Association Conference next month, and they've extended the
administration. Wondering if I could go.
I don't know. How much is it?
$300 and some for early bird.
Let's look in, let me see what we got in that budget. We'll look into that. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Budget.
Budget. Well, Jenny passed out some information to you, which was great. As of Thursday, August 11th, the county had $10.9 million in expenditures, some of which were ARPA. So keep that in mind. We have a month and a half to go. We're averaging $1,091,145 a month. And then I've been working on the budget. I think we've met with almost every single department. So it's been going very well, actually.
You're estimating that we will come in under budget from what we had.
At the end of the year?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
very nice.
That's very nice.
That's what we're hoping for.
And 2023 budget,
2023 budget
we have to adopt that.
in September, the September meeting.
Okay,
We're gonna have a workshop on it. We'll pick a date. I'd like to do a workshop on it at the end of this month. So we can just go over all of it. And then we can adopt it in September. So
and
we have to have a public meeting, to adopt the budget.
what is the big struggles? The healthcare obviously must be one of them.
Yep. Yes, our insurance has gone up. I'm trying to think. Jenny and I've met on this so many times. All the departments have been very great to work with.
Well, the two, we'd added that, I'm gonna say the prescription line to go with the health reimbursements. Will that go away with the new plan, or is that all gonna stay the
The
same?
health reimbursement line, I took that out yesterday, and I took the health insurance out of all of the different departments and figured it into the insurance and bonds department. So it'll be easier tracking for us, although we'll know how much, each department is using for health insurance, but it's just difficult for them to budget for it when the numbers ebb and flow. We know what those are. So I put that number, I took it out of everybody's budget. I put it into, which is the 801, the insurance and bonds, and then I eliminated the reimbursement line. So, but I kept the prescription line and I increased that. Because we don't know for sure what the prescriptions are gonna be, but I increased it from what it is this year. And so if we're looking at it today to where it is at right this minute, we are at about 300,000 that we need to figure out, but we think we have all the revenues in. There's some we're waiting on. But that's, those are in case things. That's in case we have so much overtime in the sheriff's department. That's in case the childcare fund, goes up. I mean, there's a lot of variables to this. So I feel really healthy about it.
Good.
Because, and that's not balancing it with the ARPA dollars.
Yeah.
So we can do that.
Yeah.
While we're having a rebuilding year. I mean, we can do that and have that budget balanced at the next meeting. So that's something that we need to consider.
Well, I think where we've done bad in the past is we've lost track of a budget's a working document, not just a
Right.
rigid one that in the beginning, yeah, we're here, but when you get to the end, we gotta adapt with it as we go.
Yeah, like what we've been doing.
Yeah, and so we've been watching it real close. And that'll make a difference when you pass your resolution for adopting the budget. And I have the ability to be able to sign, budget adjustments higher. It'll make a big difference for everybody. I feel good about it. You know, I still feel that we're mostly people, you know, pencils and paper. And I still feel that we need to, you know, we're not gonna see it much of a change except through attrition or unless we do something else to bring in a revenue. So.
Any other questions, comments on the budgets? Public comment.
We have a couple of gentlemen in the audience that would like to speak. Is that true?
Come on up.
Evan Gilliam, I live in the northeast corner of Franklin Township,
Can you spell your last name for me, please?
GILIAM.
Thank you.
And one of my neighbors were here a couple months ago and asked about ambulance response times. We've had 2 incidents where one of the gentlemen died waiting. It was an hour before the ambulance got there. And another gentleman had injured his arm with a pressure washer and hit an artery. And once again, it was over 55 minutes before the ambulance got there. And we were wondering if there's anything that's could be done about maybe moving an ambulance closer, standby over there, or
Well, I guess I can, I'm in that arena, not so much the ambulance. but, Mobile medical response has our coverage for Clare County. And what they do is they typically have 3 units in Clare County. Now, depending on where the run is that they have, they jockey those ambulances around. This has been brought up several times to MMR's management staff and that about the concerns about ambulance times and response times to scenes. From what I'm being told, they're having a staffing issue, to be able to staff the rigs that they have. Although there's no excuse, really. Other than talking with them, that is what I know as far as is the issue that's contributing to the response times.
one of the problems with it, I think, is the 911 dispatch. You know, you gotta explain to them for like 30 minutes of where you're at.
I think Dwayne could probably explain that, but with the way our dispatch works is they take in the 911 call and then another dispatcher works on the critical part, which is getting the units en route and transferring it to, because MMR has their own dispatch center in Saginaw, I believe it is, Dwayne.
That's exactly how it works. Our center initially gets the call to try to find out what the problem is. In the meantime, they're already getting a hold of what's called Medcom.
Yeah.
Saginaw. That is a private company. So they dispatch their rigs. We don't dispatch.
We know what's the problem.
Any EMD protocols, like walking someone through how to do CPR, they do all that. So really don't have, it's very limited involved.
Well, it's kind of tough when you gotta try to explain over and over and over again where you're at. You know, I mean, you should have, the computer should be able to tell them right where.
I understand why they do that. I know, and it seems like forever probably as you're going through it when someone's dealing with it, but they're very careful because how that can work. What comes up from your phone doesn't mean that's necessarily.
But you're giving them an address.
But they're trying to confirm it because sometimes people get emotional, they're frantic. It's part of their job, and I understand that. It seems like a lot, but it really is the best thing for them to do.
Kevin, I do know that you're not the first person in the community. Citizen and or elected officials that feel something needs to be done. Part of the problem is I feel that we don't have a contract with MMR. We probably need to do something. And there are some people working on that right now. It's just at the beginning stages. But we are trying to address that because a lot of us feel strongly that there is an issue that needs to be resolved there.
So we don't have a service agreement with them?
No.
we brought it up at the township board meetings also, and the comment we get is, well, you should have thought about that when you moved here. I've just succumbed to the fact that if I have a heart attack or something, I'm gonna die. Well, you can say that until it actually happens to you.
By far, you're exactly right.
So,
But your concern is a valid one. I want you to know that. But it is being talked about by some people in town, whether it would be, and I think part of the reason that Lori brought up about the 100 millages passing in the state of Michigan is part of those were for people having that for their ambulance department and what we can do to do that. So we're in the planning stages of trying to make that better for the citizens of Clare County.
thanks for your time.
We
You
know
bet.
it's a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a discussion at med control meetings as well as the 911 meetings. LEPT meetings. It's a discussion because you have representation from mobile medical response at all of those meetings. So.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Steve? No, okay. All right. No unfinished business, new business, commissioners room remodel bids.
Yeah. Well, they're in your packet. The lowest one is $63,900. Obviously, you see the reason we need to make this room bigger, but we also have to make room for 2 more commissioners, so there was a lot of work that went into this. The first bid was 72.5 and the second one is 63.9. And that's with wiring, with Zoom equipment on each side of the room. New table, taking that wall out, making the room bigger. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I did, request people's comments at the last meeting to come in, and I did have a couple people come in with their recommendations or thoughts on how this room should be. So
I got a question. Is this something that we probably need some action on pretty quick, just for the fact
we do.
of getting those people lined up to do it?
Because this bid, I told the contractors it has to be done by January 1st. It has to be. So I couldn't get a lot of people to bid on it because of that fact.
What's their lead time? When do they have to start?
I would like a motion today if you accept it.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the bid with Bud Property Maintenance so we can move forward.
Before we do that, what's the references between the two? Who's the best contractor? Best service and best quality?
Well, this one is basically acting as a general and bidding it out. So all the subs came in.
Okay.
This one has a couple subs that are coming in.
They're both very reputable people. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
And they did put a lot of work into this.
Pulling this money from
This has to come out of
out
ARPA
of
dollars.
ARPA.
Yep.
Bronwyn made a motion, just so you know.
Now I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, now I'd like to discuss one thing.
Mhm.
If we approve that, but just so we can get that contractor on the books, do we have time to maybe change the layout design? If we all have a chance to look at a layout and see if we might not like it or we, love it or something.
Absolutely.
So can
Now's the
we?
time to do it. Yeah.
All right, so we can amend what's going on a little bit and,
Yes.
all right.
Okay.
We don't have a set of plans that we haven't
I
seen yet,
don't
is
have
what
a
I'm
set of
asking for.
plans.
All right,
No, it's
perfect.
kind of like a, what do they call it?
Fly by the seat of your pants?
Pretty much. Design build. It's a design build.
Okay.
So, and I have checked the debarred and excluded parties list. So that's taken care of and they do qualify with the insurance limits that's required. So
Got a motion second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Asplund,
Yes.
Bankin,
Yes.
Einhardt,
Yes.
Majeski,
Yes.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Bristol.
Yep.
Haskell,
Yes.
motion carried.
That was the accept
To accept, yeah,
lower one.
Yep.
yes.
63.
And I will put the contract together.
Okay, the public hearing's closed.
We need to go into.
We need to go into closed session, so
But here's the motion. Someone has to,
Can read it.
someone has to read the motion, so.
Sure. Motion to go into negotiations of the collective bargaining agreement, MCL 15.
I'll second it.
And that's a roll call,
Oh,
just so you know.
okay. Roll call, please.
Majeski, Haskell,
Yes.
Lincoln,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
motion carried.
Yes.
Like, I'll take them and pitch them.
Here's another one.
Okay, give me a second to get switched back over if you don't mind.
So do we want to,
I make a motion, we come back into open
Let
session.
me- Can you give me a minute to record?
Hurry up.
I'm trying.
you want to do the, oh, I'm sorry, I'm still waiting for paper. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, now,
All right, now, we need to see them figures first, but I
Okay.
do believe I'm with Jack. We might just as well.
I agree.
I can get those figures in no time.
Right. Wedge that
Actually, I
right
might
into
have
the
them.
schedule.
Do we have a,
Might have them.
well, we have a meeting before it would go into effect anyway, so let's just,
Yeah.
you get that around for the next meeting and we'll
Yes.
ratify them. That way we
Yes.
know if the union accepted the 5%, which I'm sure they did anyway.
Okay,
All right,
We need to figure out what it's gonna cost.
Exactly.
I already told you.
We're in open session, so no.
okay. I should have said that. That's,
Did we,
that's it, unless someone's got anything else.
Pizza's coming and your train
Right.
can start.
Meeting adjourned.
all right.